I often think that a JRPG will at least take me around 50 to 60 hours to complete, and that can be pretty daunting to a lot of people, me included. Sometimes when I'm looking at games to play, I think that's going to take a little bit too long. So when I added Souls of Chronos to my games to watch out for this week, I'm so glad that I did that. The lovely people over at Astrolab Games were kind enough to provide me with a key to enjoy the game. And I just want to say a massive thank you to them, it truly does mean a lot to me. Souls of Chronos is a JRPG that plays out in a way like a visual novel meets dungeon crawler. You take control of a character named Sid, a young lad who is working to try and find his brother, but currently works for one of the gangs in the city. You are tasked with collecting funds from a merchant who didn't pay on his debts. You corner the culprit for him to take a shot at you. Thinking this is the end of the road, you think about your friend Torii, and poof, she appears right before you. And time stops. Pretty weird, but she completely saves your life by being able to do this. This is where the game tells you about Chronos, a non-human class that appeared from a strange island. These human-like creatures form bonds with humans to share their life force that allows them to use special powers, but the issue is the more they use these powers, the more life force needed. So effectively, the more you use them, you are slowly lessening the amount of time that you'd have on this earth. Now that's enough about the start of the game and its main characters. I don't want to ruin too much for you, so let's talk about the gameplay itself. As mentioned before, the game plays out like a visual novel with some RPG aspects that allow you to feel like you interact more with the world around you. The story for the visual novel part of the game, I believe, is fantastic. I feel like I've really connected with the characters and the story that's been told so far. Now, at around the 2-hour mark, you've pretty much met all the main cast of people and the parts that they play in the main game. Now I do wish the game had some voiceover work. I played the game quite late at night and that was the only time I could really play it. And I got tired pretty fast just from reading all of the text. Like imagine trying to read a book at 1 AM, right? But that's my only downside of the storytelling. It's a little bit too much to read, but the actual story, brilliant. So let's talk about the other section as well, the RPG part of the game. It is a JRPG after all. This is what made the game feel like it was more than just a novel. You could move around the areas and interact with all the NPCs that you could see, and amazingly, they all had their own style, but we'll get to that a little later. You had side quests that weren't just fetch missions. I have a big issue with those because I feel like a lot of games just say, go collect this and come back here. There was more than that. Some had moral choices attached to them, so for example, a mother and child can't afford to pay back the loan to the gang that you're in. You can either tell them that they have to pay it, or you can pay it for them. I always like it when a game gives me the choice, as if you want to be kind, you can, but it also gives you the option to be cruel if that's the playthrough that you want to play. Now, combat felt a little strange to get used to at first, but after a few battles, it all kind of made sense. So I played on keyboard and mouse, and that's probably where my issue came into it, as some of the buttons that you had to press were kind of like on the other side of the keyboard. Now, it does seem that controller might have been the way to go with this game. I did see a few reviews on Steam and they said they played with controller and it was easier, so in hindsight that was my fault, but I prefer to play with a keyboard and mouse. You have a main weapon and a secondary weapon. These are swords, guns, snipers, bombs, etc. There's a few different things, and you can choose between which one suits you best. I always went with a shotgun as my main weapon, and a bomb as my secondary, and I never really deviated from these. I enjoyed it when I was fighting using them. The bomb you can place anywhere within the fighting arena, and the gun just seemed to really take no time to reload, so why not use a shotgun that reloads within half a second? My only issue with the combat was the health itself. Now, I died a few times as I was sometimes not sure what health I had. The health is shown at the top left hand corner. Now, I prefer it when a game tells me when I'm on low health. Normally the screen will start to flash red or something will pop up, you may start to groan a little bit more. It's kind of obvious that you're about to die, but it doesn't have anything like that. So sometimes I would just be fighting thinking that I'm still a-okay health wise, just to actually be one hit away from death. So if there's anything I could change, it would just be to add maybe a little bit more interactions or animations that show that your health's lower, because I don't want to go back all the way to a save point when I've just played for like 20-30 minutes in a dungeon because I wasn't keeping a track of my health. Having a decent story and maybe good combat is only half the battle, because a lot of people these days want the game to look pretty. And I can say this about Souls of Chronos with 100% confidence, the game is beautiful. Like, the artwork alone is just so awesome. Each character has their own style, and no two of them look anything alike. And these aren't just the main characters like you'd expect. NPCs that give you side quests and merchants all have their own different look. And this isn't something that you see in a lot of indie games these days. And all I can say is massively well done to talented drawers and artists who actually worked on this game. Now, you can tell that it must have taken them a while to get all of them looking so good, as there is so many of them. Like, I was shocked just to walk down a street and take a side quest from someone and they have their own model on the side. Or I go to one of the few different merchants in the area and lo and behold, they have their own style as well. And it isn't just kind of like a rework or a recolor, they are completely different to each other. That is crazy. It must have taken so long, so big well done. Just beautiful work, awesome all around on the artwork. Now overall, I really enjoyed my time playing Souls of Chronos, and while yes, it had its little things here and there that could have been a little bit better, I can look past them as the game was completely solid gameplay wise, and the story had me hooked. I'd definitely recommend this to anyone who enjoys JRPGs or visual novels with a little bit more extra flair. That's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye!